In the heart of Europe, there's a small landlocked country surrounded by mountains. No colonies, no major military, no empire. And yet, this tiny nation quietly became the vault of the world's wealth. From billionaires and dictators to corporations and governments, everyone trusted one place with their money, Switzerland. But how did it happen? How did a neutral country become more powerful than most empires? Not with armies, but with banks. This is the story of how Switzerland became the world's bank. Centuries ago, Switzerland wasn't rich. It was poor, divided, and isolated. In the 13th century, it was nothing more than a collection of mountain communities, farmers and herders struggling to survive. But what it lacked in size, it made up for in geography. Those mountains didn't just protect the Swiss from invaders, they protected their independence. While empires rose and fell around them, Switzerland stayed out of it all. And that independence became their most valuable currency. In the early Middle Ages, Swiss mercenaries were among the most feared in Europe. They fought for whoever could pay: France, the Pope, any king that needed soldiers. As they returned home with gold, a new mindset began to form. Money meant safety, wealth meant freedom. By the 1500s, Swiss bankers were already managing foreign fortunes. Merchants from Italy, France, and Germany came to Geneva and Zurich to store their gold, away from wars and political chaos. Switzerland had discovered a formula that would shape its future. Neutrality plus secrecy equals power. Then came a turning point: the Reformation. In 1536, Geneva became a center for Protestant reform, attracting refugees and wealthy elites fleeing Catholic persecution. Among them were bankers who brought their gold and their trust. Geneva's reputation for stability and discretion began to spread. While the rest of Europe was burning with religious wars, Switzerland quietly became a financial sanctuary. In a world where no one was safe, the Swiss learned that silence could be profitable. By the 18th century, Swiss banks had become the hidden safe of Europe. Aristocrats, kings, and merchants all deposited their wealth there, protected by layers of secrecy. The French Revolution only accelerated the trend. As guillotines fell and chaos spread, nobles smuggled their gold across the border into Switzerland. The more unstable Europe became, the richer Switzerland grew. Its neutrality wasn't just political anymore, it was financial. And by the 19th century, this small mountain nation had built a reputation as the safest place on earth to store money. When the world wars came, Switzerland's role became even more critical. While nations destroyed each other, the Swiss stayed officially neutral. But their banks were not inactive. During World War I, they held the assets of both sides. And by World War II, Switzerland had become the world's ultimate financial refuge. Gold from every direction, Allied and Axis alike, flowed into its vaults. Some of that gold was legitimate. Some of it was not. As Nazi Germany looted gold from occupied Europe, much of it was melted down, stamped, and passed through Swiss banks. It was one of the darkest chapters in Swiss financial history, one the country would later be forced to confront. Yet, when the war ended, something remarkable happened. While Europe lay in ruins, Switzerland's banks were intact. They had survived 2 world wars, untouched and fully funded, and that gave them a unique advantage: trust. If you had money to protect, whether you were a businessman, a royal family, or even a government, Switzerland was the only place that seemed immune to chaos. After the war, the Swiss financial system evolved into something even more powerful: a global safe haven. 2 principles defined it: neutrality and banking secrecy. The famous Swiss banking law of 1934 made it a criminal offense for bankers to reveal client information. This law wasn't just about privacy, it was about survival. It turned secrecy into a national identity. A Swiss banker who revealed a client's name could face prison. Even governments couldn't easily pierce the veil. That reputation drew everyone, from European elites to Latin American dictators, from Hollywood stars to multinational corporations. By the 1960s, Swiss banks controlled almost half of all global offshore wealth. Zurich and Geneva weren't just cities. They were symbols of safety, power, and silence. In those decades, money from all corners of the world poured into Switzerland. Oil-rich sheikhs, American investors, and African leaders all saw Swiss accounts as their fortress. Corporations moved profits through Swiss subsidiaries to escape taxes, and secret numbered accounts became legendary, known only by digits, not names. But this secrecy came at a price. As global transparency laws evolved, critics began asking tough questions. Was Switzerland protecting wealth or hiding corruption? During the 1980s and 1990s, scandals erupted. Investigations revealed that Swiss accounts were used to hide money from dictators like Ferdinand Marcos of the Philippines and Mobutu Sese Seko of Zaire. Billions in stolen public funds were traced to Swiss banks. Pressure grew from the United States and the European Union. Switzerland was forced to change. In 1998, under global pressure, it agreed to return hundreds of millions in stolen assets. And in the years that followed, Swiss secrecy began to crumble. The turning point came after 9/11. The global fight against terrorism demanded new financial transparency. For the first time in history, Swiss banks were forced to share information with foreign authorities. It marked the beginning of the end for the old secrecy model. Yet, even without secrecy, Switzerland remained dominant because its power wasn't built only on privacy, it was built on trust. Swiss bankers developed a reputation for professionalism, stability, and ethical management. They were cautious, disciplined, and discreet. In a world of economic volatility, the Swiss franc became one of the most stable currencies in existence. By the 21st century, Switzerland had reinvented itself, not as a vault of secrets, but as a fortress of security. Wealth management replaced secrecy as its core product. Swiss banks became advisors to the global elite, managing trillions in assets legally and strategically. Today, Switzerland's banking sector represents more than 10% of its GDP, employing over 200,000 people and managing an estimated $2.8 trillion in offshore wealth. It remains one of the most trusted and sophisticated financial centers on Earth. But behind the precision and professionalism, one question still lingers. Can any country be truly neutral in a global system driven by money? Switzerland's neutrality has always been a double-edged sword. It allowed the country to survive every crisis, but also to profit from them. It made the Swiss rich, but it also made them responsible for storing the world's hidden wealth, both good and bad. From gold bars smuggled during wars to digital billions managed today, Switzerland has always been the same thing, a mirror. It reflects the world's fear, greed, and desire for safety. That's why the phrase Swiss bank account carries so much power. It represents everything money promises and everything it hides. In the end, Switzerland's story isn't just about banking. It's about how a small nation turned its weaknesses into its greatest strengths. Geography became security, neutrality became power, and secrecy became wealth. In a world built on conflict, Switzerland found its empire not through conquest, but through confidence. It didn't need armies or colonies to rule. It needed vaults, trust, and silence. And that silence made it the most powerful little country in the world. Because while others fought over land and oil, Switzerland mastered something far more valuable, the power of money itself. Thanks for watching. If you found this story fascinating, don't forget to like this video and subscribe for more deep dives into how our world works. We'll see you in the next one.